Pablo, number 1 overall, says the script. Yeah, I mean, Pablo, that is what the script says. So, you know. As we dive into this, we are going to enter round 1. The reason we're all on the stream, yeah, Joker, you're not wrong. Pick 1 for the Reapers. Drum roll, please. Oop, why did it do that? It like repeated. Fascinating. Pablo Sanchez. Again, no one here is surprised. The secret weapon is absolutely boss. And he has gotten so much. He's eaten so many of his Wheaties since last season, especially because, again, last season was really disappointing for the secret weapon. He was only a 1.1 war. So he's looking to actually make a name for himself this season. And I think he definitely has the potential. He absolutely has the potential to make season 1 or season 2 his season. Kaz Cappy, I'll strike him out 3 times. Yeah, sure. I'm sure you will, Kaz. Yeah, I'm sure about that. Round 1, pick 2. That goes to the Pioneers. And who do you think the Pioneers are going to go with? They are going to go with Benjamin Abenduct. Yes, Benjamin Abenduct has been drafted by the Whistlers. Not Whistlers, the Pioneers. I read the Whistlers because that was what he was in season 1. PD Pablo Sanchez. I've not heard that one over the course of the season. Oh gosh, Raptor, that's nasty. Benjamin Abenduct is the very obvious pick number 2 in round 1 of the draft. His stats, just incredible. Max stuff, max movement, max HRE, max BABIP, almost max control, amazing stamina, and a very good sacrifice bunt. If you never need that, Abenduct is your man. I tell you what, Benjamin's got quite. Don't draft beers at your own risk. Yeah, that's like the story. We've never heard of him before. Yeah, no, right. Hero Driver loves his Nobles jersey. Or we'll get to that. We will get to that. So we are now on pick 3. Pick 3 goes to the Nobles, and of course the Nobles are going with Dean Danger. This is a forced pick, but Dean Danger absolutely has the skills to pay the bills. And his war last season, 2.5. Very good war, one of the highest in the league. And as far as defensively, he can play anywhere in the infield, but he's also very decent at shortstop, which ironically is where he's going to go because there just aren't enough good shortstoppers. But still, 84 rating for shortstop, that's pretty good. And again, he's got the offensive skills to be able to keep the Nobles at the forefront of this season. And again, Danger, he played for the Ninjas last year. We'll see how he handles spearheading the Nobles run through the season in season 2. Saw your clone the other week. You saw my clone. No, that's right. Finley is technically the other clone, but it's not really a clone. I mean, I'm sure he would beg to differ, as with the missus. But yeah, that's just. I'm way less charismatic. Can't spell Nobles without lose. We got to come up with a rebuttal for that, ladies and gentlemen. We've got to figure out a way to counter that stupid, inconvenient truth. Multis in the BYP? Yeah. Yep. I don't know. Already have hate, yeah. Already hate already. To rebut spelling? I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, anyway, so we have pick 4. Here, let's just move on. Yeah, the slides? Yeah, the slides. Those are amazing looking slides. Whoever made those slides, or wow, man, the skill it took to make this. Definitely wasn't made by a former warlock. Definitely was. Ignore the man behind the curtain. Yes, round 1, pick 4 goes to the Warlocks. They are going with Sandy Koufax. This is Sandy Koufax. Maybe who made those sides should idle us into some marbles. Focus, wax on, wax off. Yeah, that's true. But Sandy Koufax is the pick 4 for the Warlocks. Oh yeah, I said I was going to go to marbles after round pick 3. Anyway, we'll do it after Sandy here. Sandy this is his first season with the BYP, but he is a pro player, and holy Moses, does he have skill. He definitely has skill. Not max skills, definitely not like Abenduct, and also not That's pretty funny, actually, Captain Kegleg. We'll get to that in just a moment here. I don't have a ton of time though, as is not wrong. I do not have all the time in the world to be able to do marbles. But Koufax is the pick for the Warlocks. Let's see. Here we are though, pick 5. And it's the Cluckers. Who do the Cluckers go with? They, of course, go with Tim Gross. Tim Gross is the pick 5 selection by the Cluckers. And Tim Gross, again, very, very elite ratings. He has one of, if not the most devastating knuckleballs in the league. I'm sure there are other pitchers who would beg to differ and who would argue that, but 124 out of 125 is pretty good argument. But yeah, the Cluckers knew the call to make, and yeah, pitchers are definitely going to go because they are the elite ones. Warlocks don't too regret taking Koufax over me. Very potentially, Tim. Very potentially, but they did. And Gross, who had a very good season last year, even with the Cacti, who did okay, all things considered, but Tim never really got enough offensive support to really make that WAR even higher. Again, he pitched 76 innings, the most in the league, or at least in the Neo's Arc League. So we'll see what he can do with the Cluckers this season. We'll see if the offense can be there to support him. Not like any other pitcher in the league has ever had problems with the offense letting them down, or the relief throwing their game away literally. Whistlers, though, are pick 6. Thank you so much for the follow, Tom Powell. Welcome to the BYP, and enjoy your 1,500 caps. That in base game, the OTP devalues the knuckleball, like it's never offered as a pitch. It's interesting. I don't remember exactly how that plays out. I haven't like made a pitcher in a long time. But anyway, the Whistlers, speaking of pitchers, they are going with Randy Johnson. And again, another pro player and another spectacular pitcher. Randy's only downside is he only has 94 control. Only has 94 control. He just amazing blazing fastball and slider mixed with a decent changeup. And then that 99 to 101 miles per hour velocity. Yeah, the Whistlers are definitely going with Randy Johnson, and that's a nice mustache too. Nice mustache. Not bad at all. We now are at pick 7. Pick 7 goes to the Frogs, and they are going to go with Naomi Murray. There we go. Sorry, I had to pause for a second. I hit the button. Naomi is a forced pick. As you can see, her power ranking was 23rd, but she's getting picked at round 1, pick 7. I mustache you why the... Boo, Tim. Boo. Boo on you. Yes, Naomi definitely had a rough season, her opening season 1, but she has done a lot of upgrades since then, and she's looking to really make a huge impact for the Frogs and to be their ace starting pitcher this season to see if they can turn around what was a rather disappointing first season in season 1. Meanwhile, now we have with pick 8, that goes to the captains, and the captains are going to go with Captain Kegleg. Again, another forced draft, but Kegleg absolutely is the most devious catcher in the league. Look at that framing. He could frame the most purest of souls to be the most darkest of villains. Weak sauce. His framing is going to make any pitcher's stuff even immensely more potent and powerful. So Kegleg is going to be leading off as the captain for the captains in season 2. And he had a decent season last year. But again, his best ratings are his catcher framing and then also his power to spice it up. So good job getting the second best catcher. You guys are vicious. You guys are vicious. Pick number 9 goes to the Rockets. Rockets, because the player was still available, went with Ken Griffey Jr. Now, Griffey played for the Goats last season, but he was still available, and the Rockets absolutely picked him up immediately. He has had also multiple seasons with the Rockets in the past, so it was kind of a natural selection for them. as Ken has amazing center field stats, 102 defensive rating, which is really, really good. Really good. And also enough power, contact, speed to really cement himself as a very solid round 1 pick 9 selections for the Rockets. Now we're on to pick number 10. This one for the Queens. The Queens are going to go with royalty today. And that royalty is, of course, Cas Cappy. Cas Cappy is pick number 10 in the first round of Season 2 Draft. Cas Cappy, who had a very, very disappointing season last year, not due to their own faults, however. Because look at that WAR, a 2.2 WAR for playing for the worst team performance-wise of Season 1, which was the Owls. If she can pull off a 2.2 WAR on the worst team, imagine what she can do on the team like the Queens. Quite a lot of uphill potential and what looks like could be a very good season for both Cappy and the Queens, so long as they get good relief and good offensive bats, which we'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes, Kaz. Pick number 11. That goes to the Mythics. Mythics are going to go with Jody Weed. Yes, Jody Weed has been drafted by the Mythics. Weed, who had a stellar season last year for the Rockets. 2.6 WAR, 16 home runs. That was the league leader for the Sunny Day League, if my memory is correct. Jody Weed is a phenomenal catcher. Not as good with the blocking and framing, but what she lacks in defense, she absolutely makes up for in pure offensive carnage. Almost max power, amazing contact, great eye, and avoid Ks. She will absolutely be a spearhead in the Mythics playoffs chances this year. So, Mythics going with Jody Weed for pick number 11 of round 1. It is now time for pick 12 of the first round. But before we get to that, congratulations to Death from Above, Attica, Punk, Flash, all of you winning 1,250 caps. Congratulations. Should be max power. I used boost to get max power twice. We'll have to check on that then, Rob. Hard to put catcher's mask on with that unicorn horn. Hard, but not impossible. Pick 12 goes to the Cacti. And the Cacti are going with Keisha Phillips. Keisha's kind of a late pick. She was expected to go pick number 5. So it was definitely a good steal for the Cacti. It's not max, I'll check it. Keisha just has amazing outfield defensive ratings and a good center field at 98, and that's where she's absolutely going to be played by the Cacti, is in center field. But she has amazing gap and regular power, great contact, and very good speed and aggressiveness on the base paths as well. Keisha Phillips is going with the Cacti. She had a good season last year with the Bats, 2.3 WAR. It's 24 teams, Hollywood. It's 24 teams. We're now in pick 13. Pick 13 goes to the Owls. The Owls, in their first... wait, Beers. In their pick for Season 1, they're going with Vinny the Gooch. Vinny the Gooch, this is his rookie debut. And Vinny has been selected by the Owls. Vinny's got some very good power. But also what makes him really stand out is his defensive abilities. Again, 122 in left, 110 in right, but also 100 itself in center field, which is a great rating. And that is where he's going to be playing for the Owls. And Vinny's picture didn't render for this. Whose picture? I don't know whose picture are you talking about? I didn't see no picture. Anyways, pick 14, that goes to the Goats. And the Goats are going to go with arguably one of the best, that's the wrong word, one of the most classic Goats of all time. One of the classic greats of all time, Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth is a very solid pick here. Some might argue that Beers is a better pick, but most goatist. That's a good way of putting it, most bestest. Babe Ruth, though, has incredible skills. And Also, unlike Beers, he also has speed and base running skills along with really good defensive ratings. So, you know, argument could be made either way. I thought it was Alex Vertigoat. Oh my gosh. Whatever happened to Alex Vertigoat? Whatever happened? Speed? Where? What speed? 57 speed with 61 aggressiveness and 63 base running. When I say speed, I'm being generous. I am being generous here. But again, when we compare it to Wade Beers, it is superior, which isn't saying much though. But anyway, I'm going to stop talking before I put my foot in my mouth. Who needs speed when you trot on a home run? That is a fair counter argument. That is a very fair counter argument. Pick 15 goes to the Giants. And the Giants are going to go with You Down with OBP. You Down with OBP is another amazing stellar catcher who's got excellent framing. Not a good arm or blocking, but again, what he lacks defensively, he makes up for offensively. He's got 120 power, 120 eye, 92 contact with a 113 BABIP, struggles with avoiding to strike out, but also has good stealing aggressiveness and ability. So he's not fast, but when he steals, he'll probably be successful. And again, You Down with OBP, he walked 34 times for the Bears last season. So 0 stolen bases versus 1 caught stealing. Details. Details not important. Round 16, that one belongs, not round 16, pick 16 goes to the Bears, and the Bears are going to go with Bully Maguire. Yes, Bully Maguire is back with the Bears this season, baby. 2.1 WAR last season and 38 RBIs. Led the Neos Arc League in RBIs last season and had a very, very good first season with, not first season, I guess season 1. He keeps sticking to the Bears. Well, the Bears, I'd say, are sticking with him because he's definitely what helped lead the Bears to the playoffs last season, and the Bears are hoping that he can do that again for season 2. Again, with that amazing defensive ability, 126 in center field. You can hardly ask for a better center fielder. With that eye, someone has to lead him out to center field. Bully Maguire is a Bears necessity. He is a bear necessity. Now we're up to pick 17. That one's going to go to the Coyotes. Coyotes are going to go with Mike Trout. Mike Trout is a pro player. He'll be returning with us this season. He has very good left field abilities, decent center field abilities, which is where he'll be playing. But he's got good power, eye, BABIP. But holy cow, can this guy take extra bases very, very quickly. 92 speed, 102 aggressiveness and ability. He is very, very dangerous to be even up at the plate, let alone when he gets on the base paths. So very fast runner, very fitting with the Coyotes theme of just speed. You know, I am speed. Mike Trout, pick 17, goes to the Coyotes, and it's time now for pick 18 of first round. That goes to the Ninjas. The Ninjas are going to go with Willie Mays. And at first glance, you might look at this and go, what? How is this a first round draft pick? I mean, he's got great gap power, amazing power, and, average contact and eye. His stealing ability is very good base running too, but above all, it's that dang center field rating at 125. At this point, a lot of the center fielders I think have already been picked, and he was predicted to be picked around spot 15 or 13, so he's technically 5 picks overdue. So it's not that bad of a pro player. Whether or not he'll be able to spearhead it for the Ninjas, we'll see. We'll see what he can do, but that center field position he has locked down. So we'll see how it goes for the Ninjas. Pick 19, that's going to go to the Trains. The Trains are going to go with Roman-A-Day. Yes, Roman-A-Day is back with the Trains as well after a phenomenal season that led them right up into the finals versus the Collectors. 2.7 WAR, led the league in average and OBP, and had a very spectacular season with the Trains. Good pickup for them too, as he was expected to go pick 14, and it's pick 19. The Trains were like, yes, please, in a heartbeat. Bringing back Wario. Yes, indeed. Exclamation mark train didn't work. Why didn't that work, Az? Trains, that's why, because it's not a train, it's the trains. Pick 20. Still in round 1. That goes to the Armadillos. The Armadillos are going to go with Roger Lemons. Roger Lemons' rookie debut here in Season 2. Lemons is predicted to go into the second round, pick 27, but the Armadillos went with him earlier. They did not want to wait around. Shame he wasn't a Rocket. Sadly, the Rockets were not going to get. They did not have a chance of getting him this. Not in Season 1 or not in Season 2. Pardon me. Not with the draft setup. It was either Griffey or Lemons, and they went with Griffey, which means the Armadillos looked at that. When life gives you lemons, you take him pick 20. Yeah, literally. That is literally what they did. For a rookie year as well for Lemons, he already has the makings of an ace. Amazing stuff. Fantastic movement and control. A solid, not just solid, an elite 4-pitch repertoire. Fastball, changeup, splitter, cutter. Very, very good pick here. And honestly, probably an underrated pick. As again, he wasn't expected to be picked for another seven picks to go. He wasn't expected to be selected for 7. So a very good steal, I'd say, for the Armadillos here. We're now into pick 21. That one's going to the Bats. And the Bats. Is Roger Lemons even going to let up a run? We'll see. We'll see. The Bats are going to go with Wade Beers. Wade Beers has been selected for the 21st pick, first round, by the Bats, and it makes sense. That's exactly where we expected him to fall. And yeah, what a steal at this point. I think Wade Beers may have been a little nerfed power rankings prediction-wise, because he still has fantastic power. Great contact, avoid Ks, decent enough eye, modest gap power, but who needs gap power when you're hitting home runs anyway? Speaking of hitting home runs anyways, look at that WAR. He is what led the Cluckers to victory and to the playoff finale in Season 1. The defense bringing him down? Yeah, the defense definitely is what's holding him back from becoming a much higher, like in the teens to early 10s. But nevertheless, you cannot deny that Wade Beers will be a solid bat for the Bats. Bats are going out guns blazing. They are going out swinging. 476 average, 582 OBP, 1.718 OPS, 15 home runs, led the Naos Arca League in homers, doubles, hits, runs, average. There's so many things he did last season. However, there has been quite a few of new batters that have reached where he was at. And so he's no longer the undisputed king of the home run derby. So Wade Beers will still have a lot to prove that he is still a very strong player, which I think he is. I still think he is a good pick. But with the Bats, he's going to come out swinging, I think. And we'll see how many connections. Question is, will be the play him at this or better third baseman and play him at first? Yeah, that's a good question, actually. Where he's going to play on third or first. He can play either. Not very well, but he can play either. Pick 22. That one's going to go to the Admirals, and they are going to select for their pick Ty Cobb. Ty Cobb's another interesting pick, another returning pro player. He's got, again, decent center field and right field stats, good contact and BABIP. I cannot say, though, in all fairness, that he would have been my choice per se. He was, though, predicted power rankings to be 19th, and it's already 22nd. So Ty Cobb is still a very strong player. And honestly, since the Admirals are going to draft again in like 3 or 4 picks, it's not a bad first pick. 1 pick in and the Admirals are sunk. I mean, hopefully not. Hopefully not. We'll see how the rest of the draft turns out for the Admirals. But yeah, looking back and looking at this now, it's definitely a questionable pick. But the power rankings were made with the relative stats in mind, not the overall stats. So we'll see how it goes. Pick 23, that's going to fall to the Ducks. Second to last pick of the first round of the draft. The Ducks are going to go with George Herman, which Herman doesn't have the speed that Cobb has, but he absolutely has as good defensive ratings. But also, Herman is all about the power and waiting for the right pitch. 120 power, 120 eye. He does have an Achilles heel. He will strike out way more frequently than other players. Nevertheless, he still had a very good season last year with the captains. A 1.3 WAR, hitting 8 home runs, 9 RBIs, only 226 in terms of average, but he's looking to make a name for himself and absolutely has landed with quite an impressive flair, coming out as round 1, pick 23. 3 true outcomes. Yes, homer, walk, strikeout. Very much what Herman is about. And now we have the Kings in round 1, pick 24. Last pick of the first round, the Kings are going to go with... Friendly reminder that Chuck Norris is the 4th best left fielder in the BYP. Interesting reminder. The Ducks are going to go with... not Ducks. You said Ducks, StatsMonger, and you got me confused. Johnny Silverhand. Johnny Silverhand is the final pick for round 1 of the Season 2 draft. Johnny Silverhand had a very lackluster season with the Kings last year, but it was a difficult season for the Kings in general. Silverhand, I believe, has also gotten quite a few buffs, as you can look at his stuff, control, his awesome 3-pitch arsenal. Very, very decent, solid pick for the Kings. Time to get Star Yell for your pit team. Where's Mr. Norris going? Patience, Grasshopper, patience. We shall get there. Nobles would like a word. I'm sure everybody would like a word. So that is the end of round 1. Round 2, let's go right on into this. We're going to start with pick 25, which again, because it's a Serpentine draft, will be the Kings. The Kings are going to go with, for their second pick of the draft, this is a very intriguing choice, Roy Halladay. So not only are they going with a starting pitcher for their number 1 pick, they are going with a starting pitcher for their number 2 pick. And both of these guys have some very, very good strengths. So the Kings have decided to go all in on starting pitchers for Season 2. We'll see how that works out for them. Another raffle has started, so don't forget to type !join to get involved in our second raffle or third raffle or so of the day. And you'll be eligible to win some points if you are selected as the winner. Well, yeah, Roy Halladay for the Kings. Looking to be a very potent second starting pitcher. The Kings are not going to be hurting for good starting pitchers this season. Now we're going to pick 26. That goes to the Ducks. Speaking of the Ducks, because I got confused last time, they're going with Doran Elmer, another rookie with his first season with the BYP, another rookie debut. Oh my gosh. Doran Elmer, definitely underrated. Round 2, pick 29 was his expected draft point. And the Ducks saw him and they were just like, quack, we're going to take this guy. And well, they didn't go quack, obviously. That was just me. Still, I think I have the caps I had before I gave Chuck Norris assist. Upgraded his power. Yeah, steroids. You know, Cardinals fan, we didn't do that with Chuck Norris. Doran Elmer. Only thing Doran doesn't have going for him is speed. But again, amazing defensive abilities across the infield diamond. Ducks are a bunch of quacks. Well, I mean, bats are a bunch of bats. We'll see how that goes, though. Elmer is still a very, very, very good pick, especially for the second round as well. Again, everything but eye, power, gap, avoid case, BABIP, contact. Got the skills to pay the bills, absolutely. So Doran Elmer is going to the Ducks here in Season 2. Pick 27 is going to go to the Frogs, and they are going to go with Alex Murray. Another forced draft pick, as Alex wasn't predicted to be drafted until about pick 44. But he had a very decent season with the Captains last year. 1.4 WAR. Yeah, who? I don't know who this is. No, not Hughes on first. Hughes on first. He's later. 288 average. He had, what was it, 38 hits? Where's the stolen bases? Right, there it is. 36 stolen bases. No clue who this person is. Thank you so very much, Mr. Re416, for the follow. Welcome to the BYP, and enjoy your 500 caps. Or 1,500 caps, my mistake. But yeah, Alex Murray, the commissioner, is going to go to the Frogs. Again, he's got every dangerous aspect. Well, these forced picks, the Frogs are... Their next pick isn't forced. It was just these first two. Bust potential. Corruption! Yeah, no, Stargale is joining the team ASAP. We'll see how Stargale, if they are able to make it in. Pick 28. Please tell us Alex wasn't born in 2002. He wasn't. He wasn't. Again, Pablo Sanchez is not as... Yeah. Anyways, that's going to the Admirals again. Admirals looking for a better pick, let's say, than Ty Cobb. They're going to go with Pete Wheeler. Pete was expected to go mid-first round. Pete has the best defense in the outfield of anyone in the league. 5 years older than him. Oh, that would be weird, Cardinal fan. Pete's only real weakness is avoid K's and I, but man, can this guy hit. And his speed and aggressiveness on the base paths are absolutely dangerous. So the Admirals seem to be going for speed so far this year with Ty Cobb and Pete Wheeler. At this point, Pete Wheeler is arguably a steal because, again, he was expected to go as pick 18, not pick 28. So he had a decent season with the Mythics. He led the league in triples. So did Pete Wheeler win Gold Glove? I don't think so, and I don't know why he wouldn't have. But yeah, I'm not sure why he wouldn't have. Pick 29. That's when I go to the Bats. Will the Bats go with another batter, or they're going to go with a pitcher? And they go with a batter. Cinnamon Roll. Another strong, stellar batter. Good infielder at second base. Got good infield range and errors. Great contact and BABIP. Good power. He led the league with 15 doubles last season for the Frogs. One of the best Frogs players without a doubt. And again, a 2.0 WAR, 367 batting average. His level of bat is probably exactly what the Bats need, because he has great contact as well. He's got, he's got fair speed. He won't be stealing bases or anything like that, but he can put the ball in play, and that's kind of what the Bats seem to be all about so far. Bats should be all bats. Yeah, funny you would say that, Hero Driver. Funny you would say that. Anyway, pick 30. That's going to the Nobles. The Nobles are going to go with their first non-forced pick. It's kind of obvious. Amanda Hellerman was absolutely going to go to the Nobles. She had a wicked good season with them last year as their closer. 2.4 WAR for a closer. Oh my gosh. 101 strikeouts, 0.65 whip, 17.4 strikeouts every 9 innings with a devastating league-leading 1.38 ERA. Holy cow, she is absolutely going to be Randy Johnson's number one opponent in terms of the throws fireballs and throws a lot of good pitchers. Doesn't have as good stamina, however. Do take a notice on that. She's the league in Ks as a closer. Again, that's what's incredible. Led the league in strikeouts as a closer. A closer. That's just nuts. Again, strikeouts for every 9 innings, 17.4. Incredible. But she struggles with control and doesn't have the highest stamina. So those are her really 2 biggest weaknesses. So we'll see if that has any effect in the season to come. Pick number 31. That's going to go to the Armadillos. And the Armadillos are going with Base Von Balls. Base Von Balls has very good overall stats. Good contact, BABIP and avoid Ks with very decent power and eye to boot as well. And very good framing, decent blocking and arm. Another catcher. The catchers were a very strange mixed bag of ratings this season. EVC in Arma. In the Armadillos, yes, EVC is with the Armadillos. Congratulations to our raffle winners as well. We have Twitch Metro, SK Reborn, Hollywood 24, and Rob Deer in the Headlights, each of you winning 1,250 caps. EVC in the early second round. Last season, I struck out insanely. You had 52 strikeouts. That is true. You did strike out a lot. But you also had a 2.2 WAR in spite of that, which is really quite good, especially with the Giants, who they tried to compete with the Bears, but they just didn't have enough talent. Base Von Balls could only do so much by themselves. Is that Lemon's team? Lemon's was on the, yeah, he's on the Armadillo. So you've now got Lemons with a very good framer. Do you see why the Armadillos went with base fun balls? Because again, it's like, I could see him going in the second round anywhere. Very intentional pick though by the Armadillos, and why they wanted EVC. Because again, also, he had great stats last year too, 2.2. It'll be interesting to see the construction of the teams after the third round. Yes, and we will get to that. But it is still round 2, pick 32 now. We are on to the trains. And again, remember, the trains had Roman a day from round 1. So they are now going with Pierzynski, Repczynski. Starting pitcher for the Nobles last season definitely struggled. He only had a .4 WAR, a problematically high 6.26 ERA, and was 3 for 4 with the Nobles last season. However, he has been massively worked on in the offseason, and now that you look at his stats, you can probably see why. He's a second round pick. And technically, he's 2 picks behind where he was expected to be picked. 3 solid elite pitches: fastball, slider, curveball. Bread and butter of any regular run-of-the-mill pitcher. That's worth their salt, but he takes it to the very tiptoe of max potential. 122, 125, 122. The best fastballs, sliders, and curveballs, yet you'll on average see, unless you're playing against someone like Randy Johnson, Kaskapi, or Abenduct. Can't spell Pierzynski, Repczynski without someone saying Gesundheit. You can, because there's no H in Pierzynski, Repczynski. So just a minor oversight there, Rob. But you're probably right. But Repczynski joins the Trains as their pitcher, with Roman Aday as their dominant bat for Season 2. Makes me hungry for PoE. Oh man. Pick 33, that one's going to the Ninjas. The Ninjas are going with Hitty Ball. Right fielder is where they'll be playing Hitty, who's got very good defensive abilities. He's got great contact and BABIP. Gonna struggle again with the avoid Ks for this season, but he also has got good power and eye. He had a very decent season with the Reapers last year. 1.3 is not bad. Without someone saying Gesundheit. Okay, that's fair, Rob. That is fair. He managed to hit 8 homers, had 264 batting average, and looking to make a difference here with the Ninjas in Season 2, as we are now in round 2, pick 33. Pick 34. That's going to go to the Coyotes, and they are going to go with Angela Del Vecchio. So with Mike Trout as their star batter, they're now going with a solid pitcher for their second pick here of the draft. Sugar Pop definitely has the stats that make her pop. You wouldn't know it based on her WAR though from last season, 0.6. She struggled. She was with a decent enough team, but she just couldn't really make any major headway as the star pitcher. But she's been eating her Wheaties as well. She's not been eating quite as many lollipops as she did last season to try to kind of help substitute more protein into her diet. So we'll see if Sugar Pop can really pop this season for the Coyotes here in Season 2. Pick number 35. That one's going to the Captains. Captains with their first non-forced pick.
All right, let's get down to business.
Hey, thank you so much for the follow, Jestria or Jestira. Let me know if I'm saying the name wrong or right. But welcome to the BYP. Enjoy your 1,500 caps to get started. Captains, they're going with Cal Ripken Jr. Man, if there's anyone that is like a captain of like an organization or of a position, it's gotta be Cal Ripken. He just emanates captain. Again, 103 third base, 99 shortstop. He absolutely has what it takes defensively to really put a stop pretty much to any shenanigans in the infield. And he's got decent avoid strikeouts, so you don't have to worry about him blowing an opportunity to get a hit. Cal Ripken Jr. on my team? Oh. Did Captain Kegleg auto-draft Ripken? No. Kegleg did not auto-draft Ripken. Pick 36. That one's going to go to the Bears. So they have Bully McGuire in round 1. For round 2, the Bears are going with Jim Aroni. Aroni, another outfielder, which There's the reason why the outfielders aren't going first pick is that there were so many of them. And teams, once you already have one, you wouldn't pick a second one because you want to diversify your talent where it's spread out, especially if you haven't gotten a pitcher yet. The only exception are teams like the Captains. Very interesting choice that they went with a defensive infielder before a starting pitcher. We'll see how that goes if they're able to pick up a good pitcher in round 3. But Jim Maroney, very, very powerful power. Great contact, decent avoid Ks and gap and I, very strong hitter, good defensive player as well. If he was better in center fielder, he'd be even more valuable of a player. But nevertheless, again, for a rookie debut, this is a great looking stats, skills. He absolutely has the potential to come out swinging for the Bears. And coupled with Bully McGuire, the Bears are going to be quite the offensive juggernaut this season, at least so far in the draft. Earlier than expected, just a little bit, yeah, just a little bit. Pick 37, that's going to the Giants, who, after going with you down with OBP, they are now going to go with Mike Schmidt. Solid defensive third baseman with very good gap, power, and eye. It's kind of similar in how other players have it with the strikes out, hits a double, or walks, or hits a home run. Kind of those very polarized players where you can depend on them to do one of several things, and that's pretty much it that they're going to do. But you can work with that. And he also does have some stealing aggressiveness and abilities. So don't just write Mike Schmidt off as he's on first, I don't have to worry about him stealing. He might surprise you. He very well might surprise you. So, Mike Schmidt, much later than expected. He was expected to go pick 26, and he went pick 37. He is a returning pro player, though, and it's interesting why he got picked. Like, why would the Captains have gone with Cal Ripken versus Mike Schmidt? Well, for starters, Mike Schmidt can't play shortstop. Shortstop is a position of high demand, high stress, and very low supply. Mike Schmidt can play first and third. First and third are probably one of the most common infield positions that you will see players defensively playing at, maybe with the exception of second base, but they're very, very easily found. Power is what sets him apart, though, from most first or third basemen at this point in the draft. I want to clarify that at this point. Pick 38, that one's going to go to the Frogs. And the Frogs are going to go with their round 2 pick. This is their supplemental pick for drafting Naomi and Alex Murray in rounds 1 and 2. They are going to go with Hugh Son first. Yes, the Frogs have drafted Hugh Son first rather earlier than he was expected to go. He was expected to go with Cass Cappy and the Queens. He goes with the Frogs. And it actually makes sense for the Frogs to do this. You have your ace, Naomi Murray. You've got your on-base contact and stealer, Alex Murray. You need a bat that can do more than just maybe hit homers. You need someone who can go the distance. Hugh Son first can go the distance. That being said, and it's a family, yeah, it is. Weird defense profile. Isn't it weird? It is weird. I think Hugh Son first is probably going to get some attention to get his positional ratings up for next season, for season 3. Is he playing first? Why would you put Hugh on first base? Why? Why would you put Hugh on first? Who is not on first? Who's on third base? Who is on third? Who is probably never going to have a season where he plays first base? I'm just going to say it. Yeah, and the Frogs are now not drafting until the end of the 4th round, so this is all they get today. They had to go with a good solid bat, and Hugh Son first, rather underrated for, pick 46. He's got great stats, and he's a decent enough third baseman. If his defensive abilities were better, he would absolutely be higher up in the drafting order. He does have an incredible error rating, 100. Hugh Son first will naturally not drop the ball defensively, but he's going to have a lot of attention and pressure on can he deliver the power that the Frogs are going to need this season. We shall see. Pick 39 now for the second round. That's going to the Goats. Goats are going to go with Ivan Rodriguez. Low arm at third. Yeah, that's, again, his defensive abilities were really what holds him back. He can unnaturally drop the ball. He just can't get to the ball or throw it. You guys are really slamming on Hugh. Poor Hugh. Poor Hugh. Anyways, Ivan Rodriguez, pick 39 for the Goats. I've played on the Queens last season with a 1.7 WAR. Very decent. Very, very decent. Very much so. However, he is primarily a defensive catcher only. He's got an okay contact and BABIP, but he doesn't really have any other impressive offensive abilities to speak of. But again, he's got a bullet, a Mikey Thomas level arm. Pudge, yeah, that is literally what that's Pudge right there. He's got a little bit of stealing ability, but again, don't expect him to be getting on every time. You know, he had a good season last year though with the Queens, so we'll see. Maybe he'll be a very big goat for the Goats in season 2. Pick number 40, Owls. So they went with Vinny the Gooch in round 1. The Owls are now going with Jocinda Smith for round 2. I got drafted before Pudge. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Jocinda Smith is pick number 40. Second pick for the Owls in season 2. And Jocinda is an infield master. Nobody can play. Well, that's not true. Not nobody can play. There are people like Ricky Johnson who can play, or Ernie Steele who can play first base better than Jocinda. But Jocinda is still arguably a very, very good infield defensive player. And she's got great contact and avoid Ks. You can depend on Jocinda to get on base and keep things moving. Last season, she had surprisingly a .6 WAR, but she had a 342 average. Like, she was getting hits. She was getting on base. But for the Armadillos, she just couldn't make... Yeah, I'm surprised her power ratings are so low. Her ratings are a bit low. You're not wrong. But again, another thing that she has as a secret weapon that every MVP has to have is that sacrifice bunt. Very, very important. No, I'm kidding. Infield error, 112. Just like Hugh, she is a very, very capable and dependable defensive player that the Owls believe make up for her lack of power and gap power. So we'll see how it goes for the Owls with Jocinda and Vinny the Gooch as their Vinny the Gooch and Jocinda as their first 2 picks respectively. We're now going to go to pick 41. That's with the Cacti. Cacti are going to go with Mikey Thomas. Thomas, who's expected to go pick 31, getting pick 41 instead. Jocinda had max power and backer baseball 97 and 01. I've forgotten about that if that's the case, Gross or Tim. We'll have to maybe check into that. But then nothing we can do for her at this point in season 2. Maybe season 3 she'll go to the batting cages and beef up that bat. We'll see. Mikey Thomas, though, is pick number 41. Second pick for the Cacti. And Mikey Thomas had a very good year last season for the Whistlers. 2.2 WAR, 303 average, which is pretty good considering he is not fast at all. He does not have any gap power, and his eye is pretty... He'll need glasses by the time he reaches middle school or high school, probably. However, arm of 112, very, very strong arm. Not many stolen bases are going to get committed against the Nugget. Nugget is absolutely going to throw out players, and he's got great power as well. And again, an immensely impressive sacrifice bunt. It's just the thing of legends right there. But round 42, on a more serious note, that's going to go to the Mythics. Mythics are going to select for their pick Annie Frazier. Annie's another one of those strange picks, probably more for the what's it called? Kindred Spirits, I would say, in this case. She does have good contact and very good BABIP. She struggles a bit with avoiding the strikeouts, but she's very good with stealing ability and base running. And she's got very good defensive positions. And again, center field at 82 is not bad. So I think, some marry for wealth. I think the Mythics married for love in their round 2 draft pick here. But it's not really far off. She was expected to go pick 45. And she went pick 42 for season 2. So we'll see how this works out. The hippie of the backyard joins weed on the Mythics. Yep, couldn't have said that any better myself, Az. Couldn't have said it any better. Pick 43 now. That one's going to the Queens. So they got Kaz Cappy in round 1. Round 2, they're going to go with Honus Wagner. Right fielder with great contact and gap power, speed, stealing aggressiveness, and decent enough defensive abilities that as a right fielder, he will do his job. The thing that the Queens seem to be going with already from the get-go that we can see here in round 2, they don't want there to be no movement on the base paths. Honus Wagner will fly around. All that means, however, is that the Queens have to have someone now with enough, power to really send in the runs home. Because Honus Wagner can get across multiple bases, but you still need someone who's got enough consistent power to get the balls deep into the outfield for him to tag and score if it's a caught out, or better yet, to leave the stadium and to be a home run. So Kaz, we're waiting on bated breath for their 3rd round pick for the Queens, but this is looking hopeful. At least I think it is. You tell me, Kaz, do you feel hopeful after seeing Honus Wagner as pick number 2 for the Queens? Tell me what you think. Tell us what you really think. Pick number 44. That one's going to the Rockets. The Rockets having gone with Ken Griffey Jr., wishing they could have gone with also other players, but Barbara Jones is their pick. Barbara is not ever going to win any offensive awards or trophies. She's just not. She hasn't been spec'd for that. She won't strike out very frequently. She only struck out 21 times last season with the Owls. But her glove, defensively in the infield, is one of, if not the best. And as far as shortstop, she plays a 103. Hey, thank you so much for the follow, Old Delano 45. Welcome to the BYP and enjoy your 1500 caps. I like the Holmes pick, but the rest of the roster is a little concerning to me. Kaz Cappy, have you seen the rest of the roster? I didn't think we had made that public yet. Interesting. Anyway, Barbara Jones is the pick. So about that, yeah, I wondered. Anyway, that is the pick for the Rockets. Pick 45, that's going to the Whistlers. They got Randy Johnson in round 1, and round 2, they are going with Larry Walker. So what you're telling me is I have to stay up past my bedtime on Monday night. If you don't want to be spoiled, do not go to the Stats Plus. Oh, okay, I didn't know I needed to make that announcement. That probably would have been important to have stated earlier. Yes. Stats Plus has been updated. I believe AZ Axel has updated Stats Plus. So if you want to be spoiled, you're going to see the entirety of the draft. If, however, you are a person with self-control and discipline and restraint and patience, you will happily wait for Monday, I'm sure. It's not that long. You've already waited a week, right? Like, none of us have self-control. Larry Walker, anyways. Pick 45 in round 2 here for the Whistlers. They're going with Larry Walker, so 2 pro players. What is this virtue you speak of? I don't know. If I find it, I'll let you know. No, it's base, but I haven't found it yet either. Apparently, it's a thing that people have where they don't have to be on their phones every 5 minutes because they're bored. I haven't figured out what that is though. Anyways, Larry Walker is the pick for the Whistlers. 1.4 last season with the Pioneers. Decent stats, good average at 310 with 8 homers and 32 RBIs. This year I have a closer. Kaz does have a closer this year. It was a forced pick too. 'Tis the virtue we don't have the time to learn. This is very, very true. Pick 46. It's going to go to the Cluckers. So they got Tim Gross for their 1st round pick. 2nd round, they're going with Fred Rogers. The Cluckers have done what the Kings did, but in opposite order. Cluckers were almost at the very beginning, Kings were at the very end. Both teams have chosen starting pitching to be their strong suit for this season. Fred Rogers, very potentially underrated, 61. He was expected to go in the 3rd round, which we're close to the 3rd round at this point, but pick 61, that's 15 spots away. So this is a very bold choice by the Cluckers. They are gambling some of their offense away with the hope that Fred Rogers' pitching will keep any of the opposing team's offense in check. Rogers did not have a great year last year per se. He led the league in wins, but he only had a .4 WAR. You know, a 2.96 ERA. How he only got .4, I don't really know, to be honest with you. Because 6 wins, he led the league. He led the league for the Bears in the Nails Arc League. But he's not got fast stuff. He just has good changeups, sinkers, and circle change. He doesn't have the best, again, he doesn't have the best stuff, though. That's the thing that might hold him back. And he has very limited stamina. That's the other factor. 55 stamina is barely adequate for a starting pitcher, and it means you're going to be relying on your bullpen for every other game that, you know, which Rogers will be pitching. So we'll see how it turns out. We'll see how it turns out. Pick 47 goes to the Warlocks. Warlocks going with Sandy Koufax in round 1. They are going to go with Timmy Unger. Little Timmy Unger. Another raffle is up. Don't forget to type !join to get involved in our 4th raffle of the day. You could be eligible to win up to 5,000 caps. Timmy Unger. I have no feelings of anger or hostility towards Timmy. You know, what happened with the Warlocks with him in beta season, or was it the beta season, season 3? You know what? It's bridge under the water. I don't hate him. I will say, however, the Bears probably do. Negative .2 WAR. Negative .2 WAR. He was expected to go round 2, pick 41. I don't know why. Eleanor Frisbee, is this your son? No. I'm way too old for that. Underwater bridge. The bridge is underwater. Yes, it's bridge under the water. That's really what it is. I have no negative feelings towards the first. I have no negative feelings towards Timmy Unger at all. I wish him and his lovely Warlocks the best of luck, and I hope he sucks. Anyways, with that little tantrum out of the way, we're now up to pick 48, the last pick of round 2. Well, now, Simon and Garfunkel win. Oh man, Pioneers, they're getting the last pick of round 2 here in the season 2 draft. They are going to go with Ricky Henderson. So they went with Benjamin Abenduct in round 1, and now they're going with Ricky Henderson in round 2. Ricky is an interesting choice for the Pioneers to make. He does not have power. He really doesn't have offense to speak of. He's got very decent center field defensive ratings. It's just his eye and his speed. My conclusion is the Pioneers want someone who can get on base. Also, because they're about to pick again, as I think they picked 3rd in round 3. So it's not like they're not going to get another pick. They probably wanted to get Henderson to secure a batter on base so that their power hitter can come through for them. Round 3. How are we doing on time? It's already it's only 2 o'clock. Jeez. How am I doing on speed, Az? Am I going too fast, too slow? So I think we're here till, are we here till 3 or are we here till 4? Well, if it's till 4, we'll have plenty of time for marbles. Oh, a player boost from Hollywood 24. Good balance of speed and info. Good. I'm glad. That's what I'm aiming for. I don't want to spend too much time. Hey, thank you so much for the follow, Duncata515. Welcome to the BYP. Enjoy your 1,500 caps, and if you haven't, you are doing great. More marbles. Oh, thanks so much, guys. If you haven't, type !join to get involved in our free raffle. You'll be eligible to win upwards of 5,000 caps. You never know. All right, first pick for round 3. Now, they didn't get a pick in round 2 because of the forced pick that they have here, is the Reapers. They get 2 back-to-back picks here to lead off the 3rd round. They have Pablo Sanchez, and now they are selecting George Brett. George Brett, who is expected to go midway through the 2nd round, is now being selected by the Reapers, who again, they're getting back-to-back picks here, so they can pick as many different players as they want. Am I dropping frames? I am dropping frames. Wah wah. Again, George Brett is a returning pro player, and he has been drafted pick 49 for
All
the
right,
Reapers.
let's get down
Hey,
to
thank you so much,
business.
Ballcack14, for joining the BYP. Enjoy your 1,500 caps, and don't forget to type an exclamation mark join to get involved in our raffle. We are here, though, with round 3, pick 50. Okay, everyone heard you, Alex. Everyone refresh your Steam. Yes, if you haven't, refresh your stream. Round 3, pick 50. That one's, again, like I said, going back to the Reapers. Reapers getting back-to-back drafts here in the 3rd round. George Brett, Pablo Sanchez, and now Amir Khan. Interesting. Amir is really just a quality second baseman with good base running abilities, eye, avoid Ks, and contact. I don't think I did this for... I checked my frames last night, but 50 plus 50 is... or 50 minus 50 is not 15. I don't know when he was expected to be picked. He may have been on time, he may have been late. I checked for this too last night, and I still missed one. Anyways, congratulations for our raffle winners, EVC, Slinky, Rob Deer, the Headlights, and the Divid Q, each of you winning 1,250 caps each. Congratulations. But Amir Khan had a modest season last year. He led the league, though, in walks. 27 walks, if you can believe that. I was told there would be no math. That's why I messed it up, was because there's math involved and I couldn't read. Yeah, let's just move on from that slide. We'll pretend like Amir Khan was that's where the frames dropped, was Amir Khan. We'll never know. Yeah, that's what we'll go with. That's what we'll go with. Pick 51. Math is hard. Math is very hard. Like I said, the Pioneers getting an early round 3 pick due to the Serpentine draft. They are going to go with Ashley Weber. This is an interesting pickup, especially for round 3, because again, they have Abduct. They have, who was the other person they drafted? I just had them in my mind's eye and I lost them already. Wow, they had a very memorable player. I hope it's not one of your players, or I'll feel really guilty. But they're going with Ashley Weber for round 3, pick 51. Ashley, Little Smoky, is a very, very good tennis player. She also does play baseball, and she has great positional ratings. Well done, BYP. Awesome. I'm glad you like it, Flash. I hope you're not being sarcastic. This is Ashley's first season, or at least returning season, back with the BYP. She did not play for the BYP in season 1. I think Sydney did, but maybe she didn't. Maybe they were both out doing tennis practice the whole season. I don't know. The Rangers are giving out a secret bobblehead that says, I guess we'll never know. I guess we'll never know. Ashley, though, has good speed, good base running and abilities, good contact and avoid Ks, and a very, very patient, very good eye. And so when she gets on, she'll be moving across the base pass pretty quickly, too. Ashley Weber is pick number 51 for the Pioneers in round 3. Now our pick 52, we're just going to go with the Nobles. They've got Pierzynski, not Pierzynski, they got Hellerman. I wouldn't have used an exclamation mark. Awesome. Thank you, Flash. Appreciated. Much appreciated. Abinetch and Ricky Henderson, that's who it was. Well, no wonder I didn't remember the name, because it wasn't a custom player. But appreciate it, Flash. Nobles, who went with, was it D-Danger, I believe, and then they went with, was it Hellerman, I believe? My memory's fading. When I start getting more than like 40 players, my memory stops being as good. If I mistake your player's name, my apologies. But pick 52 for the Nobles, they're going with Shadow Bands. They are ensuring that Hellerman has a closer she can depend on, because it does the Nobles no good to have a strong starting pitcher like Hellerman, who doesn't have the best stamina, to be let down by mediocre relief pitchers. Shadow Bands is anything but mediocre. And if once Hellerman, surrenders the mound, if his batters think, oh, finally we can take a break from these fireballs, think again, because Shadow Bands throws 98 to 100 miles an hour. Yes, he is the first reliever picked. Shadow Bands is the first reliever picked. Again, great sacrifice bunt too. Shadow Bands has fascinating stuff. good movement and control. I say good, it's in the hundreds, it's fantastic. But then a solid fastball, slider, cutter. Domination right there. Absolutely devastating. 17 stamina is not a ton, but in theory, he shouldn't need much stamina. Did the Nobles really draft the first reliever again? Yeah, they probably did. They probably did. Nobles and their relievers. Pick 53. That one's going to the Warlocks, who went with Unger and Koufax. They are now going with Bradford Smart. Center fielder, 81 defensive rating. Good
All right,
power.
let's get down
Hey,
to
thank you
business.
so much, J-Biggs, for the follow. Enjoy your 1,500 caps. Bradford Smart is the pick. He had a decent season with the Pioneers last year. 1.3 WAR with a 3.55 average. That's not half bad. Good defensive player, can play center field. That's where he's being played. Which again, the position that is sorely underrepresented in the BYP, or sorely undervalued, is center field and shortstop. Those are the two positions where they're very difficult to have a player specialize in. Can we all agree that's a smart pick? Really, Az? Really? Boo. Bradford is definitely a solid pick for round 3. And the Warlocks are absolutely going with two solid batters in their round 3 selection, or round 2 and round 3 selections here in the Season 2 draft. Pick 54, Cluckers. So Cluckers, you got Gross. You've got, I can't remember who the other person was. Dang it. I'm terrible. They have the other person, and now they have Dante Robinson. Dante's an interesting pick. Again, he's defense focused. That is the reason you get Dante, is for his defense. He has a surprisingly high gap power, doesn't have regular power or much of an eye, but he also is very fast. And that speed is what will get him places in life and also in the BYP. However, he just didn't have a very good season last year. He had a 0.4 WAR. This is turning into Kramer Answer Movie Phone. How about you tell me the movie you would like to see? Gee, still no Norris. No Norris yet for Cardinal fan. Dante's an interesting pick for the Cluckers in round 3. Unless he already got picked. No, I don't believe Norris has been picked already yet. I don't think Norris gets picked until, what is it, round 4 or 5? I can't remember. Stats Plus if you want a spoiler, but I would highly recommend you don't. Save that for Monday's stream when AZ Axel is streaming the remainder. Gross, Rogers, and Robinson, that's what it was. So they have two amazing starting pitchers, and then they get Dante Robinson as their leadoff hitter. Interesting choice by the Cluckers. Interesting choice. Pick 55 is going to the Whistlers. Whistlers, who had Johnson, now are also going to get Robin Yount, or Yount, to match with Larry Walker. Walker and Yount are the two offensive players that will be supporting Randy Johnson's bid for a win every single time. Yount has good gap power, decent contact, avoid Ks, a decent stealing ability. But again, the reason he was picked was that he plays shortstop. That is the only, well, not the only, that was the biggest reason why he was picked, was because he can play shortstop. Again, he was expected to go sooner as well, pick 47, and he got picked 55. So arguably a good steal for the Whistlers, a good defensive player for the Whistlers too. Both him and Walker, solid, strong picks. Again, does it come with a Bowflex? Because that might change my mind. Defense, unfortunately, in OOTP is just sorely undervalued and underrated. You don't ever see a highlight for defensive plays. You only, and even in Major League Baseball, you tend to, the focus is always on the big hits, the home runs, the strikeouts, you know, the blazing fast pitches. There's just, it's underappreciated. Defense is underappreciated. And we're looking to try to find ways to showcase more defensive plays, or lack thereof, to highlight the importance and value of a defensive player, because otherwise you just gravitate towards power. It's like, well, I don't need to have defense. There's a reason to have defense. Captains, they're getting their third pick. They had Kegleg, Cal Ripken, and now Chuck Ball. Chuck Ball is their first starting pitcher. And honestly, I'm kind of surprised it took this long for Ball to get picked. He was only expected to go 58, but the captain saw him and was like, This is the person to throw for Captain Kegleg. Sorry, my mind is racing 1,000 miles an hour. Chuck Ball, very good pickup for the Captains, and definitely is the starting pitcher they're looking for. He's got very good stamina too, so he'll last quite a long time. Chuck Ball is pick 56. This is also Chuck's rookie debut, season 2. As surprised it took so long for the ball to drop, I am too, Now again, his stats didn't look like this during the power rankings because they were compared to other players in his position. So it did not look this amazing and epic. But from a default, that's where his stats are. There were just a lot of other really strong starting pitchers. And again, there's only, 48 pitchers. Only 48 starting pitchers in the backyard baseball. So if you have even 10 of those being gold star elite pitchers, that'll make players like Chuck Ball, who are definitely A+, they're not S tier, but A+, they suddenly don't look as good in the comparisons, which is why, again, power rankings was 58. However, he has 3 pitches, changeup, sinker, splitter. Not a ton of pitches, but they are good pitches. So they do get huge visuals to their. If he was a Murray relative, he would have been picked later. Yeah, that's probably very true. That is probably very true. Pick 57, that's going to the Rockets. Rockets are going to go with Tony Del Vecchio. This is the first one I look back on and I go, I don't know why Tony was picked in the 3rd round. I really don't see the appeal. Yes, he's got 110 power, but man, is that like the only thing he's got going for him. Other than stealing and defensively speaking, he can play a good solid right field. But again, there are better players in my opinion that could have been picked other than Tony Del Vecchio, but that's who the Rockets went with. They probably also wanted to get their outfield cemented, and he does play a very, very good left and right field. But again, there's a lot of players, even at this point in the draft, who still could do it. Okay, the outfield arm, that is actually very true. I'd forgotten about that. It's the Rocket arm. That's why they went with Tony. 115. That is nuts. 5th raffle has been started as well by AZ Axel. Don't forget to get involved in that. ! Join. You will notice there is some themes that teams go with. If you haven't noticed, the Bats are picking bats so far. The Rockets are picking players with good arms. Sometimes that works for them, sometimes it doesn't. You just have to play around and see which ones really make the biggest impact. Because sometimes what looks like, oh, they're just over-speccing in this, they're just wasting a season. Not necessarily. Not necessarily at all. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. Pick 58. That one's going to go to the Queens. So, Cas Cappy has already spoiled it for themselves, but this guy seems like a stretch. I think this player has a lot of pressure on them, but I think they have the skills to pay the bills. You guys tell me, what is your prediction for the Queens going with round 3, pick 58? What are your guys' thoughts on Bert Handsome going to the Queens? Now, Bert has very good offensive, good contact, good gap power. He doesn't have the highest power, but he has power. He absolutely has power. And also defensively, he's a very good defender. Like left field, he's a 101 defensive left fielder. Again, and I've said this before, it's a handsome pick, I'd say. I think so too. And he was expected to go a few positions later, honestly. He was expected to go to the Cacti. And the Queens saw him, and they're like, you know what? Of all the power hitters, we want Handsome. Because he's also good defensively, too. This is where you're looking at the comparison of like, well, why did they go with Chuck Norris? It's like, well, Chuck Norris doesn't have as good contact gap power, and he's nowhere as good defensively as Bert Handsome is. Also, for example, there's positional differences as well. So there's that too. Bert Handsome is going to, though, undisputedly have the pressure of Cas Cappy, and her stare down will be on Brent Handsome. I do also want to say this. Brent Handsome in season 1 was unupgraded. Halfway through the season, he was batting over 500. 500. He was not the best created player because we were all still figuring out how it works back in season 1. He hit over 500. You know how it says, sometimes lightning strikes in incredible ways? Bert Handsome took that momentum in the offseason and has seriously upgraded his player. And he's looking to really flex his style for the Queens this season. Pressure's going to be on for Bert Handsome, but he's also on a very renowned team with Kaz Kappy at the head. So, we'll see. We shall see. Pick 59, that one's going to the Mythics. Mythics are going to go with Susan Gore. Susan Gore, who's got very good power. Oh, not very good. She's got good power. Okay contact, but again, she's another one of those players you don't pick for the offense. That's just a bonus. You pick her for the defense, and particularly a 94 rated shortstop. That is very decent. Very, very decent. She has, didn't have the greatest WAR apparently from last season, but that's not taking her glove into consideration. And also she's got good speed and stealing aggressiveness, so when she's able to get on base, she can turn that into extra base hits. So, not a bad pick. Honestly, it's a little late to be picking Susan Gore. She was expected to go on pick number 50, and she went pick 59. So, arguably, another good pick for the Mythics. Another good steal for them. Well, we're now on to pick 60. We've got this pick and then I think 12 more. So after this pick, we will be halfway through the last round for Season 2's draft. We're moving by fast. Cacti are your pick 60s here in round 3. They are going to go with Stan Musial. Stan Musial, returning pro player. He has very good contact, gap power, decent power, modest eye, good left fielder and right fielder. Good gap though in contact. You cannot deny that. Stan has very good gap and contact. He can play first base and he technically can play center field, but you really don't want him playing center field if you can help it. Only a 60 defensive rating. He does have decent error, don't get me wrong, but he's mostly for his offense. That's the reason you get Musial, is for his offense. You're not looking for a really strong defensive player. It's like he's good enough. He's definitely competent, but he ain't no Bully McGuire. 61 pick. 61st pick goes to the Owls. They are going to go with Kenny Kawaguchi. So they've got Vinny the Gooch. I'm already forgetting the second person because I can't remember anyone from round 2. And Kenny Kawaguchi. I should remember that. And you can see the ratings just slowly drop more and more. It is, isn't it? Sorry, whoever it was. I know it was a player that was picked for the Owls in round 2. My apologies. I cannot recall. I'm just can't. There's just too many names. But Kenny Kawaguchi, he is one of those strange oddities as far as starting pitchers goes. He only has 2 pitches. Crescent roll went to the bats, I believe, Mr. Audit. Kenny only has a changeup and a knuckleball. He throws 87 to 89 miles an hour. This guy doesn't throw very much, and he also doesn't have great control. But what he does have, he has in spades. Stuff, movement, changeup, knuckleball. It's incredible. It really is incredible. Oh, Simmons is on the bats. I don't recall off the top of my head, Mr. Audit. We'll have to go back and evaluate that. Congratulations to the Joker, David Q, Sergeant Mushroom, and True Polliner, each of you winning 1,250 caps each. Congratulations. Simmons went to the bats. Jocinda Smith went to the Owls. That's who it was. That's right. Round 3, pick 62 is going to the Goats, who I believe had Babe Ruth and then Ivan Rodriguez, I think. They are going to go with Ikaika Knock. Very decent center fielder, 86 defensive ability, with very good contact, BABIP avoid case, and enough gap power and eye to make him still a very dangerous batter. And he's definitely earned the title Toast. He had a very good season with the Goats, the Nobles last year. 1.7 WAR. That's not really bad at all. 3.33 average. He didn't get anything big like home runs or RBIs, but he was consistent. and he got 41 hits. He got on base. He got places he needed to be. And for the 41 times he got on base, he scored 32 times. Although he was also walked 15 times. But again, he got around the base paths. And that definitely, knocking right in front of Ruth, it's going to be very much like a domino effect. Knock, and the door shall be opened. Oops, that's my mouse. I don't need my mouse there. So that's the GOAT's pick for round 3. Pick 63, that one's going to the Giants. And they are going to go with Reese Worthington. Reese is an interesting pick. Reese does not have, he's got good contact, and he will not strike out much, if at all. But he doesn't have good hitting skills either. He's like a very strange combination of speed, defensive abilities, contact but not really, avoid Ks and might walk occasionally, but will never hit anything really past the middle infield, so to speak, or if he does, it'll be kind of into the corners. So Reese is an interesting pick for the Giants. He's really good though at turning double plays. Again, defensively, that is why you pick Reese Worthington, is for his defense. He didn't have the greatest season with the Warlocks, but again, it's because batting is what is primarily showcased for War. His defensive abilities were never really showcased. They never were really displayed. So we really can't tell exactly how effective he really was for the Warlocks, because we just I don't have access to his page at the moment. Yeah, page at the moment. So it's kind of hard to determine how good defensively he was in the grand scheme of things, just off the cusp. But he is pick number 63 for the Giants. Pick 64, that one's going to the Bears. So I can remember the first one. I can always remember the first one. It's always it's Bully McGuire. Who was the other one? Oh gosh darn it, I'm so mad at myself. I keep forgetting round 2s. Maya Day is the round 3 pick for the Bears. You guys will have to remind me who round 2 was. I can remember round 1, but that seems to be the only one I can remember most often. Maya Day is the second relief pitcher picked in the Season 2 draft. Very, very solid closing pitcher. A 3-pitch arsenal. Honestly, very decent, if not above average stamina. 24. That's actually a lot better than a lot of other relievers often tend to be, and especially not for ones of Maya Day's caliber. Look at that stuff. Movement of 104, control of 104, stuff at 112, 119 fastball, 117 slider, 111 changeup. She's got excellent skills to pay the bills. 1.3 WAR last season. She was able to keep her ERA down below 3 too. I boosted her so she could fill the stopper role, which hurt her last season. She definitely has improved in that realm. Rather spectacularly, Slinky. So we'll see if Maya Day with the Bears can give their Bully McGuire-led offense the support that it needs in the latter half. Grab 2 outfielders and now a relief pitcher. Yep. Oh, that's right. Jim Maroney is a Bear. That's right. So 2 outfielders and a relief pitcher. Hey, Roman Day, thank you so much for the subscription. 37 months in a row. Wow. Thank you so much, Roman Day. And if you just got here, you got drafted by the Trains. Again. Round 3, pick 65 is going to the Coyotes. Coyotes, who went with Mike Trout and then another pro player, I think. Why can't I remember this? Why can I not get here? I did just get here. I'll show you Roman Aday's slide, just so you get that experience. Bruce Springsteen is the pick, or Angelo Delvecchio, that's who it was. It was Delvecchio. The Coyotes went with the starting pitcher, and now they're going with Bruce Springsteen, who has very good framing abilities. 102. Good defensive ratings all in all. He can do pretty much everything but hit home runs and walk. He won't strike out. He'll hit gaps. He'll hit regular contacts. And he's a very, very highly rated catcher that when you look at this, it's like, how is he rated pick 75 in round 4? Again, comparatively speaking, catchers can be either overinflated or underinflated, just by the way it has when we have only got 24 teams and we only have like 300 and some odd players. It's not a big pool to pull from. So there's a little less balance that can happen when you have those few players. This is a very early pick for Bruce. However, I do want to bring your attention to the fact that for the Nobles in the, what was it? I believe the Sunny Day League. He had the highest WAR. He led the league in WAR for batters, 2.8. 33 RBIs, 354 batting average, 40 hits, 13 doubles, 7 triples, if you can believe that. Bruce Springsteen and he got the Gold Glove for the year, I believe, too. That or it's the bat. I can't remember which one it is. Maybe it's the bat. That would actually make more sense. Bruce Springsteen is going to be a very good defensive catcher for Angelo Del Vecchio. Solid pick by the Coyotes here for their round 3 pick. Now we're here in 66. The pick, that one goes to the Ninjas. They are going to go with Craig Biggio. And you're noticing at this point, a lot of the batters are starting to really mellow out. Biggio is a perfect encapsulation of this. He's got good speed and great defense on second base. But as far as contact, he's decent. But he doesn't really stand out in any one particular area. So for the Ninjas, they're looking for his defense here at second base because he also can play center field. Not incredibly well, but he also doesn't commit errors. So we'll see how this works for the Ninjas. Interesting player to pick for your round 3. But again, I think some of the really more, I wouldn't say refined, but you're starting to get into the players that have 1 or 2 specialities. They're not good at everything. We'll see. We'll see. 67 pick, that goes to the Trains. So the Trains are going to go with Roland McPoley. McPoley is a very good catcher who really focuses on power. 98 power is very impressive. He's not fast, he's not going to go anywhere, but he also played for the Bats last year, and it makes a lot of sense that it doesn't make a ton of sense, but Roland McPoley is a good solid catcher pick. 1.7 WAR for the season, and he only had a 277 average, which is kind of surprisingly low. I don't know how his WAR was 1.7. It probably was because of his defensive abilities. But Roland McPoley, that is your 67th pick here in round 3 for the Trains, as he played for the Bats last season with a 1.7 WAR, which is very, very good. Pick 68, Armadillos. Armadillos are going to go with Estevan Verl. Estevan Verl had a fantastic season with the Warlocks. However, his one weakness, one of his biggest weakness, is his avoid Ks. He's one of those players that is either going to take the ball places when the stakes are high, or he's going to strike out. He is a risky pick. He had a great season 1, very good season 1. 9 homers, 20 RBIs, but he also had 41 strikeouts. You know, the Warlocks did amazing. He did a great job for them as well. 1.9 WAR, but he is not consistent. That is the risk that the Armadillos are taking. They're going to hope that he can do what he did for the Warlocks in season 1. There is no guarantee he's going to do that, though. There is no guarantee. He is an all-or-nothing player, and he's a risk. That avoid K is very, very low. Very low. But he did get the Silver Slugger for his position last year in right field, too. So, pick 69, that's going to the Bats. They, with getting 2 solid bats already, with Cinnamon Roll and Wade Beers, they're obviously going to go for a pitcher at this point, so at least have some pitching. Oh, wait, no, they're not. They're going with Hank Aaron. Hank Aaron is pick 69 for the Bats, returning pro player to the BYP. Are you starting to get a sense of a theme for the Bats? You want to take a guess on how long it takes for them to draft a single pitcher? Is there a jelly roll? There might be. There might be in the future. Jake just giving misdirection. That's just, it's just theater. I did theater growing up. It's kind of it's fun, It's fun to pretend like, it's like, oh, this is the logical. This was a bold choice by the Bats. Your 3 picks in, they will get an early-ish round 4. The theme is they hate winning. Ouch. Ouch. That is interesting that you would say that, Sergeant Mushroom. I'm just going to leave it at that. Interesting you'd say that. Hank Aaron is a very good left fielder. He can play center field, not incredibly well, but that is where the bats are going to be putting him, is in center field. Again, though, he's got great power. He won't strike out nowhere near as much as Verl strikes out. He isn't going to walk much either, though, so he puts the ball in play. And when you have already got two solid bats, one that is pure power, one that is good contact, he's going to be a good kind of player to fit in right between them. So Hank Aaron is a good, bold, defining pick for the bats that they went with for round 3. Here, pick 69. So, pick 70. We're back down on frames again? Yes, we are. The stream has been framed. All right, I think we've stopped dropping frames, so if you haven't yet, go ahead and refresh. Apologies for that. Is Jake's clone also good? I don't have a clone. I don't expect to ever make a clone, to be quite honest with you. Drop frames. I think we're back. Imitates reluctant starting engine. Dropping frames like a clumsy optician. Yeah, that's very clumsy and a very, very risky mistake to make in that field. You will not often get many callbacks for job positions in the field of optometry. So, if you haven't yet, restart. If you can hear my voice, you don't need to restart or refresh your page. But if you can't hear me, make sure that you refresh your page. I think we're okay for now. So we're gonna keep on going. Let me know if we start dropping frames again. It is time for the Admirals. The Admirals are going to go with Marilyn McDonnell. Marilyn is another one of those focuses on the defense picks. Again, if you can't hear me, make sure you refresh your page. There we go. Thanks, Captain Kegleg. Appreciate the support there. Marilyn McDonnell is pick number 70, and she is the 3rd round pick for the Admirals. Very strong defensive player, so if they can't hear, follow your instructions. Exactly. I see, says the blind man to the deaf dog who heard the crippled children running up and down the stairs. Yeah, that's... Yeah, I love that one so much. That one's one of my favorite little, like... That can't be... That's not possible. Yeah, anyways. Marilyn McDonnell, good offensive base running abilities, too. I'm a bit distracted and have no audio on. Have I missed a Barry being drafted? Barry Basher. I don't recall. That's terrible. Again, the whole 2nd round was like a bit of a blur to me, so I don't recall off the top of my head. Sorry. I don't know, but I'm sure we'll go back through the slides again if we did. We are down to the 2nd to last pick of the 3rd round. That's going to the Ducks. Ducks are going to go with Gorgo the Gamer. Gorgo's another one of those that you look at his stats and you go, why wasn't he picked earlier? Well, the problem is his best defensive positions are first base and left field, and their players are a dime a dozen who can defensively play there. He does have above average power I and avoid Ks, and he's also good on the base paths, but he doesn't specialize in any one major thing, which that tends to be what is gravitated towards in the first 2 and even the first 3 rounds typically, are players who have very defined strengths in terms of hitting, or like with McDonnell with fielding. So yeah, that's where there used to be one actually. Oh geez, that's terrible. Gorgo the Gamer is pick 71. So now it is pick 72. Last pick for this stream. Round 3, that one's going to the Kings. We'll see. They got 2 starting pitchers. They've not been able to draft since then. We've seen so many players come and go. So many amazing players come and go. Who do the Kings go with? They go with Vicky Kawaguchi. They go for speed and infield defense. That is what they chose to go for. She's not going to be hitting home runs. She's not got the greatest contact, but she can really bunt for hits. She really can bunt, and she's a menace on the base paths. Speed, stealing, ability, very high, very good. And good eye as well, so it's kind of hard to pitch around Vicky. But also her biggest strength, bunt for hit. I know, one of the most underrated sacrifice bunt is the most underrated, in my opinion. Bunt for hit. You just never see that in the BYP often. Cutie Pie and Chuck Ball have not yet been drafted, Roman a day. I think they go in round 4. Vicky Kawaguchi, though, is your draft pick. Last one of the first 3 rounds. And she's a very strong double play infielder as well. Very strong double play player. So, with that, that is the end of the first 3 rounds of the Season 2 draft.